Morning, everybody. Hope everybody's doing all right. Let me start by saying appreciate all of our great fans that showed up in Jonesboro. Great turnout by them. Obviously, we could feel their energy and sense of excitement. Like I said, post game, a lot to clean up and a lot of things that we know we can improve upon from that game. But always pleased to get a win, especially on the road. Moving forward, obviously a lot of excitement about this coming up Saturday. We know Mississippi State's a fantastic team, undefeated on the year. Look, they've been absolutely dynamic in all three phases. Coach Leach obviously is a renowned offensive guru that's done it for a long time, has had a lot of success everywhere he's been. And then obviously their defense has been making a name for themselves these last 2 years with what they've been able to do defensively, and then special teams, right? They had a kickoff return for a touchdown, and they continue to do a lot of things. So we're excited. We know it's going to be a heck of a matchup, but our young men are up for the challenge, and we can't wait to see a packed Liberty Bowl here this Saturday.
All right, we'll start off with Terry and then Frank.
How you doing, Coach?
Good, Terry. How are you?
I know your offense has been clicking the last couple of weeks. Has it surprised you how quickly these guys have gelled together, especially when you got two freshmen in the backfield?
We knew what we had, but let's just say this. I think someone asked post game, right? Am I surprised by how quickly Seth Hennigan's come on? And look, we knew he was smart. We knew he was capable of making throws and running this offense. And so surprised, no, but in essence, just pleased with their growth and how quickly they're able to. And I think part of it is, because we knew that right at one point, Grant and even Keelan and even Peter were getting reps with the one, so that the gelling with the Sean Dykes, the Calvin Austins of the world, and then having in essence, a true freshman back there with Brandon Thomas, who really didn't play much last year, if at all. It just surprised. Kind of, but look, we've been fortunate here. I've been at Memphis to have a lot of freshmen step up and play. I think those two young men have done a fantastic job. I think the biggest thing for them is understanding our offense. And once you do, then it allows you to play a little bit faster.
Hey, Brian, how's it going? Can you hear me?
Yeah, I got you, Frank.
Yeah. After looking at the first two games, what do you think about your offensive line and how they've been able to get the push up front?
Yeah, I've been pleased with it. And Frank, I think the biggest thing, like I told you guys, is we've rotated 8 offensive linemen, which is quite unusual. I wasn't able to do that when I was the O-line coach. So kudos to Coach Bridge and his group for being able to get that done. But I think that's unique when you can do that, especially early in the season. And believe me, I'm one of those that like, hey, you just need those 5, and they need to continue to work together in cohesiveness. But when you're able to rotate and feel like you can do so without missing a beat, that's huge. They've done a nice job. Like I said, I've also been pleased with what, the tight end blocking's improved, the wide receiver blocking, the running backs trusting their tracks. So all those things have improved our run game. But all in all, I've been pleasantly surprised with the offensive line. When I say pleasantly surprised, I just think they're making strides in the right way. And like I said, I'm always worrisome when we keep rotating guys, but they've done a nice job with it. We gave up a few sacks this past game, but we also credit to, Arkansas State's defense that did a nice job of getting after us.
And what are some key things you guys are honing in specifically against Mississippi State this week?
Well, there are multiple front defense, right? You can literally put on a game, and if you just sort it by statistics of what they run, it's a wide array of things. So we're going to have to be creative in what we do offensively, and with that understanding that we're going to get multiple looks. It's a 3-3-5 defense, but sometimes they'll take one of those backers and put them up as a defensive lineman. They'll play an even front, they'll play an under front, they'll play an over. They'll stay in a 3-3 stack type of alignment. So we've got to be able to understand what they're trying to do. In reality, it's not what we know as coaches, but make sure our players have an understanding of how we can attack it. And then obviously offensively, Coach Leach has done a fantastic job over the years of stressing defenses, right, with different route concepts and stretching the field with different patterns. So those are one of the things. And then, like I said, we know we got to challenge special teams. So for us, it's especially early in the week, Frank, a lot of it is just focusing on what we need to do to get better. And that's not coach speak. That's reality. What can we do? How can we improve ourselves? And then, we got to find into the details of what our opponent will be doing.
Evan and then Cassie.
Hey, Ryan, speaking of defense, I guess looking at yours now, kind of what stood out to you as you look back at the tape, and what concerns you now facing an offense that obviously has potential like this air raid does?
Yeah, I think there's things that need to be cleaned up on our defense. And it obviously wasn't played our best game. Like I mentioned post game as well. I don't want to sit there and saying, "Oh, we were so close, we were that." There were times when we could have made plays on the ball, and that's what we got to be able to do is execute a little better, right? Some of those plays where the ball would just go just past the defensive back's hands into the to credit to the Arkansas State for making some great plays. And we didn't when we were capable of. So I think those are the things that we know we got to shore up and just make sure we're on the same page. I think schematically, people said, well, we didn't get always lined up. I thought we did for the most part. There's 3 plays that we weren't lined up exactly where we need to be at the time of the snap. And that's part of playing a tempo offense, right? That we've got to continue to be alert for. And, we rotated quite a few defensive linemen. We've got to continue to be able to rotate guys. A lot of our defense players played over 100 snaps. And then you include special teams, you're looking at some really high numbers there. So just we know that we're capable. We got to get more guys in the mix, right? Hopefully some of our guys get healthier. We're able to play them. And, look, we know that stuff has to get shored up. So kind of like what I was mentioning to Frank, we know what Mississippi State's capable of with their air raid offense. But we also have to look at ourselves and say, okay, let's clean up, take care of our own house first before we start focusing on what the opponent will be doing.
So with that said, do you think the last 17 minutes, once they switched quarterbacks and they were able to move the ball down the field, Arkansas State, do you think that was more indicative of where you were, or were you more thinking of how well you guys played up to that point defensively? And do you think it's more somewhere in the middle where you guys are right now?
Well, I think, you're ultimately a final result of what's put on tape. And we didn't do a good job of closing out the game. And, that's part of it. We could have made some more plays on footballs and the score wouldn't have been what it was. So we're ultimately what the final score said, and what was put on tape is who we are: offense, defense, and special teams. So there's certainly things that we weren't pleased with when you watch the tape that we knew we got to improve upon. But look, I've got great faith in our defensive staff and our defensive players that will get those things shored up and be ready.
Thanks, Ryan.
Cassie and then Theo.
Ryan, what do you see from Will Rogers, and how much of an emphasis will be put on the pass rush this week?
Yeah, look, Will Rogers is a fantastic player, smart, heady. He understands the system, gets the ball out with a quick release. He's got the good length and can see over his offensive line. So he's as capable as any quarterback we'll see. We know what he's able to do. But look, the pass rush has to be pertinent to what we're trying to do. If you guys noticed last game, we either blitz or drop 8, and when we have rush 3, we've got to find a way to get to the quarterback. And like we knew, they brought in, as Evan just mentioned, we saw a different quarterback midway through the third quarter of Arkansas State game, and we got to understand that what Mississippi State brings as an offense. So it's find that fine line. You also have to be able to defend the run, even though they are more of a heavy passing attack, Cassie, and how we go about doing that by a variety of schemes. And I got great faith, like I said earlier, and Coach McIntyre to put together a scheme versus Will Rogers and the rest of the Mississippi State offense.
What's the status of Mojo this week?
Yeah, we expect him to play. Again, like a lot of these young men, I can't predetermine, what it is. He's here this week. He's here in the building right now, taking care of his physical elements. But we hope that all of our guys are healthy and well. There's still some guys that we know have long-term injuries. But we do hope that Mojo will be with us on the field on Saturday.
Theo DeRosa from the Dispatch.
Hi, Coach. I work for their commercial dispatch in Columbus, Mississippi. I'm doing a story on Rodriguez-Clark. Has a touchdown catch in both games so far. He's run for 60 yards in both games. Have you seen him take a leap in his junior year? And how important is it to have a guy with that kind of experience in your backfield? Yeah,
Theo, I think, and thanks for joining us. I think having a guy like him with his experience in our backfield is huge. Those that know Memphis running backs know our great, rich history that we've been so fortunate to have. And, Rodriguez-Clark had started some games for us last year. Look, the emergence of Brandon Thomas has changed Rodriguez's role. But guess what? he's still getting plenty of carries, he's still getting plenty of touches. I think it's showing how productive he can be, and he's been dynamic. He's loving it. He's an unselfish player that if I went out there and asked him to be our lead blocker for 40 plays, he'd say, absolutely, let me do it. And so he's been great. I think we're continuing to see him grow up in this offense and have a better understanding. And sometimes guys change with their role. If they're not necessarily the lead dog, that doesn't mean they can't just be just as productive, if not more, in a different situation. And I think he's paying huge dividends for us, and we're really glad we got him.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Mark, and then back to Evan.
Hey, Ryan. Obviously, Memphis doesn't get a ton of opportunities to play against Power 5 opponents like this. But you were here for the win over Ole Miss a couple years ago, the win over UCLA before that. I'm curious, from your perspective, how important are these games for the image of the program when you're going up against an SEC team like this?
Yeah, Mark, I can't sit here and say it's just like every other game. There's a heightened sense of it. Let's be real with it, right? We're expecting a packed stadium full of our fans. And like I told our team yesterday, I said, it doesn't matter who we're playing, the preparation, the work all needs to be the same week in and week out. But it is, right? When you get to play, quote unquote, a national brand in your home stadium, it's great. It's good for recruiting. It's good for the fan base. It gets people excited around the city. And obviously, winning the football game, you can go a long way just in continuing that excitement, no matter how you look at it, right? Whether it's a win versus Mississippi State or a win versus Nicholls State, in essence, they're the same in my book, but reality, it's a different perception from those the outside looking in. And I understand the importance of that. I've been fortunate to be around the staffs that were able to win some of those important home games. And it does help. It goes moving forward. People like to see that stuff. And I understand it, but it's not going to affect or change our preparation and the amount of stress that goes into the week to week. It's, I get stressed out over spring practice number 2. So I think that the awareness and all those things are the same this week as well.
And then totally unrelated, you were talking about the secondary a little bit. You could have made some plays on the ball. It seemed like Greg Rubin was actually a guy who really seemed to have a bunch of different breakups in that game. What has he done to he's a true freshman. Where you talk about Seth and Brandon on the offensive side, what has Greg Rubin done to kind of elevate himself into a really important player on this defense?
Yeah, Mark, I think the key for him, one, obviously we love Memphis football players, but he's very headsy, and he has a great sense of what's going on out there on the field. The instincts that to come in as a true freshman, play at corner, you have to have a firm understanding of what's occurring. And there's a lot. Is Greg our most athletic defense back? No, he's not. But guess what? He puts himself in the right situation at the right time. Plays with great leverage, understands the things, what offense they're trying to do to him, route concepts, and that's allowed him to play early. And then, he does have a dynamic skill set. So those things all tied in together have allowed him to play as a true freshman. Just kind of talking about why Seth has been able to play and Brandon, just the understanding of it. So, look, Greg's got a really bright future. I sit there back and say, okay, we got a true freshman starting at corner, true freshman starting at quarterback. And in my mind, I look at Brandon Thomas as a true freshman too. So, we got some young guys that are playing key roles and key positions for us. And I think a lot of it all comes back to, their love of the game and their understanding of, being able to wherewithal to be able to handle it on the field.
Evan?
Ryan, just curious, going back to the defense a little bit, specifically when you said you guys needed to shore some things up, what specifically do you think needed to be shorn up the most, do you think?
Well, I think, the explosive plays, right? That's making better plays on the ball, whether it's the timing of going forward. I think there's one true blown coverage in that game that, we sit there and mark and say, man, that was a blown coverage, true missed assignment. Other than that, it was just not being in the right place at the right time. And those are things that with film study, I always say, you make a big jump from week 1 to week 2, no different than week 2 to week 3. But I said last year, and I think our defense will continue to improve as we go on, right? We knew Arkansas State was a good offense and explosive. Obviously, they could throw the ball down the field with some weapons. And we're going to see something similar. So the things that we're going to continue to clean up is just being able to make plays on the ball a little bit better. We're not going to sit here and try to reinvent the wheel with the defensive scheme.
Do you feel like because you've played UCF and SMU because those two teams last year, but still a veteran defense that's faced high-powered offense. Do you guys trust that maybe learning from those games and Arkansas State helps a little bit?
Absolutely. And we've got to improve from game in and game out. If we're not, then shame on us as a coaching staff. So there's a lot we can get better at offense. I mean, I go back and watch that tape, and there was 10 plays I was not real pleased with that we've got to get better at, and at least. So I think that great learning experience from that. And sometimes it's good to sit there and say, okay, hey, this is the things that we can clean up. So we know that we're capable of, and we know what they are, and we just got to go out and execute it better.
Theo?
Mississippi State has 2 big kick returns in each of its first 2 games. They have a dynamic returner in Tula Griffin. What can you do, if anything, to contain him and try to limit their return game?
Yeah, I won't give away our special teams game plan, tell you that we're going to, onside kick it every play. But no, we've got to be sound in our kickoff unit. We were okay. These past 2 games, we ran down the field well. We just got to tackle better, and that understanding that the ball placement by Noah Grant's got to be there, but also understanding that their angles and what type of returns they're doing. We understand what they're capable of. We've been fortunate to have some good kickoff returners here at Memphis, but Mississippi State's returners are as special as they come, and we've got to be sound with what we're doing. I think a lot of times on kickoff, when the big creases come, is when guys don't play in their gaps or their signs, right? They try to run by, or they try to destroy a block, within the first 15 yards, or they try to run by guys as they get closer. It's just having that understanding of what we need to do as a kickoff unit and to be sound with our assignments. And I think we'll be fine.
Thank you, everyone. Thanks, Coach Silverfield.
Thanks, guys. Have a great day.